Hello everyone, welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So things are about to get exciting. This is the last week of the transfer window in MLS. So there's going to be a lot of movement. There's going to be players coming in, players going out. There's already a couple players that are rumored to be making a move to Major League Soccer this coming week. And there's a couple players that have been rumored the last few weeks and even this week that are going to be sold leaving MLS. So we're going to talk about a couple of those moves and what that means for the league and just talk about what the impact of the signing would be. Now, the first signing is going to be Calvin Stengs. Calvin Stengs plays for Feyenoord right now of the Eredivisie in the Dutch league. Now, Calvin Stengs is a player that would not have came to MLS a couple years ago, and his current value is around I want to say last I checked on transfer market is around 15 million euros. And Charlotte FC was able to get him for like $8 to $9 million, which is just great business. Now, he played at AZ Alkmaar for a couple seasons before making a move to Nice in the French league. He kind of flailed out in the French league, went back there to Eredivisie, had a decent season at Feyenoord this past year, and MLS. He's got 8 caps for the Dutch national team. And this is a player that would have never came to MLS in years past, but here we are. That he's coming to Major League Soccer at 25 years old. He can play primarily in the as a winger. He can play as a 10, but I think he's best on the wing. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up playing with Charlotte FC. I think he's going to play as a 10, but nonetheless, this is a big move for a smaller market team. And when you get a player who is, transfer market's a rough estimation, worth 15 million euros, getting him for $9 million, 8 to 9 million is just great business. This is a guy that I think is going to make the league better. And I've been tweeting about this. We need to raid Eredivisie. This is a league that I would love to see more players make the jump to MLS from. I think it's a better league. Obviously, some people say it's the seventh best league in the world. I'd say it's probably eighth, but hey, seventh, eighth, we can debate that. Better than MLS, right? MLS is probably between 13 and 16 right now. So that's a great move, and it's nice to see a team like Charlotte FC make a big splash and sign a player of his caliber. And I think he's going to wreak havoc on this league. Now, the next player is going to be Steven Bergwijn. Now, Steven Bergwijn obviously has played in the Eredivisie as well. Like I said, this is going to be a trend. We want to see more Eredivisie players play in Major League Soccer. He played at PSV, 112 appearances, 29 goals for PSV, has a good stint, gets a move to Tottenham, plays there for 2 years, and also failed to really find his mark or build a name for himself in the Premier League with Tottenham. He only had 7 goals and 60 appearances for Tottenham, moves back to the Eredivisie with Ajax, has 24 goals, 56 appearances, very good winger, only 26 years old. I think he could be a very good player in Major League Soccer, and I think he would actually tear this league up. He's been reportedly targeted or in discussions with going to Atlanta United. Atlanta United offered $15 million or 15 million euros, excuse me, for Steven Bergwijn. They declined that. I think they have him a transfer market valued at around 25 million euros. So that's a little bit too of a low ball, I guess, by Atlanta United. Probably have to be closer to 20 million to get that done. But he's 35 appearances for the Dutch national team. Very good player, especially for MLS standards. I know that he failed in the Premier League. So does a lot of players. Okay. A lot of players don't make it their mark in the Premier League, but I think this would be a good player for Atlanta United, and he would be a good addition to Major League Soccer, and he would tear it up, in my opinion. I believe this is what we need to do. We need to target these Eredivisie level league players who aren't good enough for the Premier League, but they're too good for the Eredivisie. We could pay him handsomely, bring him to Major League Soccer, and he could be not the face of the league because he doesn't really have that appeal, but he could be an important player that dominates the league and brings the quality up. Need more players like Steven Bergwijn and Calvin Stengs. Okay, the next person, now we talked about him several times, is going to be Antoine Griezmann. Antoine Griezmann is one of the best players in the French national team history, one of the best players in Atletico Madrid history, and he has been rumored to be going to LAFC for quite a while now. This week is going to be a pivotal point to see if he's able to make it to Major League Soccer this summer. I think that there's a good chance it still gets done. As you guys have seen, Atletico Madrid has made several moves. They just recently, Fabrizio had reported that they are getting closer to getting the Julian Alvarez deal done. He's apparently flying over to Atletico, or excuse me, flying to Madrid to meet with Atletico to take his medicals to make sure he passes them. And then if that goes well, then he looks like he will be a new Atletico Madrid player. They don't want to let go of someone like Griezmann, who, let's be honest, he holds a lot of the cards here. If he wants to leave, he'll leave. He doesn't want to leave them high and dry. So he wants to make sure that they have a replacement and that they're good to go when he leaves, because he doesn't want to leave them in a bad spot. They've added a lot of players this window. I think they'll be fine. And this is just one more piece of the puzzle of getting Griezmann to join his fellow French national team players in Hugo Lloris and Olivier Giroud. I believe it's going to happen, but this week is crucial. And if it's going to happen, it's got to get done this week. Now, I also want to mention real quick, Marco Reus. Seems like that deal is also going to get done. He agreed to terms with LA Galaxy. I think he's flying over there tomorrow to officially do his medical. And tomorrow being August 12th on a Monday, to do his medical, get everything signed, and if everything goes well, he will be a new player of the LA Galaxy. Be interested to see what he has left to offer. He's 35 years old. I don't know if he'll start, if he'll come off the bench. Obviously, he has a great profile, one of the best players in Dortmund history. So it'll be interesting to see if he is able to contribute much to the LA Galaxy, how much he plays, how long his deal is for. But nonetheless, it's a guy that brings a lot of experience and pedigree to the LA Galaxy. And with LAFC making all these moves, they need to do what they can to try to keep up with their crosstown rival if they want to make a push for their 6th MLS Cup. Now, I want to talk about some of the outgoing transfers in Major League Soccer. And the first one we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about Andres Gomez. Andres Gomez is a winger who plays for RSL. And recently, he was actually today, it was reported by, so El Show RSL reported today that Andres Gomez is actually being sold to Rennes of the French league for 10.5 million euros with a 3 million euro add-on clause, or add-on and add-ons, and a 15% future sell-on clause, which is a crazy good business for RSL to sell him for that. He's been a very good player this year. Arguably outside Chicho Arango, RSL's best player this season. He had a great season. This is great business for RSL. They only paid 3 million euros for him, I think a year or two ago. And then to sell him for 10.5 million euros with 3 million add-on clause or add-ons, and then an additional 15% of any future sell-on. That is great business by RSL. And there needs to be more MLS teams that do business like that, because it's good to show that you can sign players from the Colombian League, the Ecuadorian League, the Bergwijn League, any league in South America or any league in general, and then be able to flip them for a profit and prove these players that, hey, if you come to MLS, you can prove yourself and eventually take the leap to Europe. And that this could be a launch pad for your career. So that's good for Andres Gomez. Happy to see that deal go through. Just proves that there are some, talented players in Major League Soccer that are desirable. This has been a very good window for Major League Soccer in selling their players. Now, the next one is Diego Gomez. Diego Gomez has been a very reliable, good player for Inter Miami. There's been a lot of rumors all season long if they were going to sell him, how much they'd sell him for, where would he go, which league would he adapt to or transition to with ease if he made the move to the top 5 in Europe. And he got sold to Brighton. Brighton paid $18 million or 17 million euros for the young Paraguayan midfielder. Great business. Another example of buying a player for $3 million, which is crazy that Inter Miami just bought him a little over a year ago. Buy him for $3 million and then less than a year, or a little over a year, sell him for $18 million. This is shrewd business. This is the way you should do it. This is how many other MLS teams should be conducting themselves in the modern MLS. Try to buy these value players, give them a chance to play, and then sell them for money. But they need to reinvest this money and buy more young players. Imagine if they could do 6, 7, 8 of these guys instead of just like 3. That would make a huge difference in the league. But this isn't the right trend, showing that these young players can come to MLS, build their name, and then be sold for a pretty decent fee and get a chance to go to Europe. I don't know if Diego Gomez would have necessarily had this opportunity if he had stayed in Paraguay. Would have been a lot more difficult, but obviously playing next to Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Alba, playing for Tata Martino, that has given him the chance to really show himself, get his name out there. Obviously, playing for the Paraguayan Olympic team also helped him, and then playing with Paraguay in the offseason helped him raise his profile a lot as well. So it will be interesting. Now, his move won't actually be finalized until the transfer or the winter transfer window. He's going to continue the season with Inter Miami, but the deal is in place. He will be sold. And this is great business for Major League Soccer. And hopefully, this is a trend we continue to see in MLS. Now, the last one is Talis Magno. Talis Magno was a huge, huge, huge flop in Major League Soccer. I remember when he was bought from Brazil in 2021, I want to say, maybe it was 2022, from Vasco da Gama. They paid around 8 million euros for Talis Magno, and he just never really fit in or got things going. You saw spurts of potential with him. He's still very young. He's only 22 years old, so he's not like, it's not like he's almost, his mid 20s or late 20s. But he never really panned out for New York City FC. And it's a shame because you saw the talent. He fell out of favor with the coaching staff and at Cushing. He never could see the field. I think he had like 2 appearances this year. And so he got loaned to Corinthians with a potential with an option to buy. So his days in New York City are numbered. Now, this is one of the examples of showing that a player coming to MLS and failing, not really raising their profile to get a move to Europe while playing well in MLS. But this is an outlier. This is not the common theme. There's a lot of players that have came here and done very well, ended up getting that move to or getting a chance in Europe. We saw several players this summer be sold. Thiago Almada, Caleb Wiley, several players be sold to Europe this summer. This is just one that didn't really work out, and maybe he'll be able to find his form going back to his native country in Brazil, playing for Corinthians, and maybe raising his profile again and getting a chance to go to Europe one day. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but this is more of an outlier. But what has been your biggest surprise of the transfer window this summer so far? What moves do you like the most? Which ones do you dislike the most? Anything that surprises you? This has been a very good summer transfer window for MLS on the selling side and the buying side. It's going to get crazy. There's a lot of other lower level moves that have been made that are good depth pieces. I wanted to focus on the bigger profile signings and sells. But what has been your favorite move of the transfer window so far? Next week's going to get crazy. We'll be doing another video talking about all the other moves that have been made. But I just want to know in the comment section, what has been your favorite move? What has been the biggest move? And are you surprised by how much some of these players have been sold for? Let me know in the comment section. Also, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos. And until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.